Thus far, we have covered the universe's origin in a state of emptiness, and the evolutionary periods of emergence, structure, and life. The latter stage in evolution concluded with the threshold to reflection. With this point of demarcation, the universe entered the evolutionary period of understanding. This is session 11, Human Creativity, in a course titled Evolution of Consciousness, and that is central to a larger view, Evolution of Consciousness Theory. In this session, we delve into what the threshold to reflection made possible, human creativity. In the 2 sessions that follow, our understanding carries our discussion to the present, and to the turn in the universe's becoming, that humanity is today embroiled. Circa 100,000 years ago, the universe crossed the threshold to reflection, and that threshold unfolded within the human being. Endowed with the power to reflect, humankind turned its gaze inward on itself, to find itself a different creature. No longer were we merely the most intelligent animal to wander forest, tundra, and savanna. No longer were we merely the organism who walked upright, and hunted with the greatest cunning of any living entity on Earth. We looked the same. Our build was stocky, our brow heavy, our chin receding. Anatomically, we were archaic. Whether we crossed the threshold to reflection in a hut built along a jungle creek, in a cave that overlooked a glacial valley, or alone, as we gazed into the starscape that domed a clear grassland night, does not matter. Somewhere, reflection unfolded within the human being, and spread to create humanity. And, in our beholding of self and world, the universe recognized its own existence. Through our power to reflect, the consciousness that was the universe gazed upon itself. And that first look upon itself invoked an all-consuming desire to comprehend itself. The universe felt the need to understand how, and for what purpose, it came to be. Driven by this need, and expressed through the tribulations of the human experience, creation entered the age of understanding. The human need to understand its nature and purpose, a yearning inseparable from the human need to understand the universe's nature and purpose, is the motivation that, in a fundamental sense, underlies all human motivation. Though we may not be aware of it, or are distracted from such cognizance, by the day-to-day turns of life, every man and woman embodies this need. Every man and woman also embodies the capacity to fulfill this need. We hold within our essence the ability to build and express notions of how and for what reason we came to be, the power of reflective creativity. The human body consists of systems of consciousness and creative activity, nestled within systems of consciousness and creative activity. The threshold to reflection wrapped our previous top level of consciousness and creative function, that manifest as our ability to deal with the world abstractly, within a new level of consciousness and creative function, that manifest as our ability to ponder and contemplate in a deeper way, to deal with the world reflectively. Driven by the need to grasp a situation, we ponder and contemplate, and, by doing so, shape the ideas necessary to fulfill our need. With each creative cycle, states of comprehension align, to create new reflective relationships. With each creative threshold, uncertainty collapses, and we transcend to a higher level of understanding. We build on old thoughts and concepts, to create new thoughts and concepts, and our reflective representation of the universe expands and refines, to better internalize the universe. As this takes place, old ideas reshape in support, or, if no longer needed, fall away. Reflective learning is a growth in consciousness, manifest in the refinement of our reflective representation of the world, in the evolution of the framework of concepts, through which we internalize, and come to an understanding of ourselves, and the universe. Reflective thought is the creative activity that brings about this growth and refinement. Reflective language and communication guide another person's thought process, stir another person's creativity. Reflective creativity is the way the creative process behaves on the top level of human consciousness. It is the manner in which building on, and creative discarding of the old, takes place within us. To advance our reflective representation of the world, we build on, and discard old ideas to create new ideas. But old ideas do not always fall away without effort. This brings us to an aspect of the creative process, present as far back as we care to draw the line, but that, in the realm of the reflective, reveals itself in a way that becomes essential to our understanding: stagnation. In the 16th century, Nicholas Copernicus fought to convince the world that the Earth revolved around the Sun. In 1887, it took Albert Michelson and Edward Morley's failed experiment to determine the Earth's velocity through space to convince a reluctant scientific community that light did not travel through the ether. When Einstein published his theories of relativity, he faced a scientific community indoctrinated in Newtonian mechanics. At one point, Einstein felt that the only person other than himself who truly understood his relativistic view of time and space was the Belgian priest and astronomer Georges Lemaitre, who was the first to postulate an expanding cosmos. It is natural to feel a reluctance to abandon long-held ideas, and prudence in doing so is an admirable quality. Yet, we, at times reach a point where our attachment to old ideas hinders our evolution. We arrive at this state when we use our creative ability to justify ideas for no other reason than they may once have been worthwhile. We can think of the process whereby we direct the power of our creativity to maintain concepts beyond their usefulness, and thus to stall evolution, as stagnation. Within the individual, stagnation reveals itself as insecurity, and as the ego that results when we too tightly associate our sense of self with beliefs kept alive beyond their time. Within humanity, stagnation reveals itself as dogma, racism, elitism, ethnocentrism, and fundamentalism. Stagnation is the antithesis of evolution, the dark side of the creative force. By virtue of our ability to reflect, we account for the separation of the psyche, the sense that we are ourselves, and that, at the same time, we are removed from ourselves. As fundamental, our ability to reflect generates the substance of our internal world. The time-space existence we experience within ourselves is the external manifestation, produced by the cycles and thresholds of our top-level creative process. We create and exist within an orb of personal time and space. 5 billion years ago, on the level of the simple metabolic system, entities of consciousness fully embraced the creative process. With the threshold to reflection, this folding in of consciousness reached its apex. The human being became so aware, so autonomous, so disassociated from earlier evolutionary levels, that the individual human being existed as a creation in itself. Every man, woman, and child constitutes a universe. A universe we may be, but we are not a universe that exists in isolation. By virtue of reflective level language and communication, we interact with those around us. As such, humanity is more than an aggregation of individuals. Humanity is the network of creative interaction that connects every human being to every other human being, an unimaginably complex structure of perception, expressed through a myriad of creative links. Consciousness, manifest as knowledge, generates within the individual, catalyzed by the individual's interaction with others. We then communicate our understanding until it embraces humanity. As Pierre Teilhard de Chardin wrote, a truth once seen, even by a single mind, always ends up by imposing itself on the totality of human consciousness. Such is the relationship between the human being and humanity. What, then, is the relationship between humanity and the universe? With the threshold to reflection, the universe's age of life fell into the realm of evolution's trailing arrow, and creativity's leading arrow locked in the quest to understand. Consciousness, manifest as knowledge, generates within the individual, catalyzed by the individual's interaction with others. We communicate our understanding until it is internalized by humanity, and, through humanity's assimilation, is internalized by the universe. We are the leading edge of time's progression. Our lives define the forward arrow of evolution's advance. The cycles and thresholds of the universe's overall creative process unfold within us. With the turn to reflection, creation embraced itself as what the prior 15 billion years of evolution had opened the way for it to become, an entity of consciousness made up of human beings, entities so aware as to constitute universes in and of themselves. Reflection brought the need to understand how and for what purpose existence came to be. Reflection also brought the power to fulfill this need, human creativity, the human ability to ponder and contemplate, the human capacity to create, refine, and express notions of the universe's nature and process of becoming. The forward arrow of the universe's overall creative process, locked in the advance of human understanding. Creation set forth into the most recent stage on the journey that is time, the endeavor to create meaning. Do we not exist within an orb of personal time and space? Other than by way of the cycles, thresholds, and creative building on and discarding of the old, of the creative process, how, in a fundamental way, can we account for this internal time-space manifestation? With our look at human creativity, we complete session 11, in our course titled Evolution of Consciousness. We have established the background to explore the outpouring of thought and understanding, made possible by the universe's leap to the reflective. Our course titled Evolution of Consciousness continues in session 12, Noogenesis.